Our next speakers, Chef Vivek Hurriya, Chef Jeet Ghosh, Chef Vivek from Chef the owner and from Jalfrezi Restaurant, Chef Jeet Ghosh, Head of Culinary Belhassa Hospitality, Chef Francisco Araya, Director of ICCA Abu Dhabi, Chef Deepraj Singh, Group Operations Manager, Food and Beverage Lulu Group International. I will let Mr. Raya Taib, Founder and Managing Director for Restaurants, to go for it. The topic of discussion here at the Chef's Deep Dive from 12:45 to 1:15 would be smart kitchens, embracing automation without killing your budgets. I will kindly request the panels to have their mic near their mouth. Okay, and we would like all of you who are watching the panel discussion to please kindly put your phone on vibrate or on silence. All right, I will kindly request you to do that because the previous panel we had a little bit of disturbances. So if you guys can do that, that'd be great. Mr. Raya, it's all yours.
Hi, how are you? Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this amazing panel. We don't have too much time, but we're going to try to have this conversation that already we had online before that is very interesting, as much as brief and concise for everyone. Thank you for being with us, chefs. This is the first time I moderate a panel with chefs, not with marketeers, to be honest, so it's a little bit different. But I do have some interesting questions for you. So today we're talking about smart kitchens. When we're talking about smart kitchens, how smart could they get? And do you think it helps or stagnates the process? My first part is for Chef Deepraj. For the recipes and standardization automation, what do you think? How does it work for you?
Good afternoon, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here amongst all of you. When we talk about standardization, I think that's the most important aspect or part of kitchens. Standardization is something which will bring about quality, consistency across your different products that you offer to the customers. And standardization is not only about recipes, it starts with right from the point where the ingredients are coming in. So if you want to have a good standardized product available for your customers, day in, day out, it's all about getting the right ingredients, the right process, and matching it with the recipes that you're setting in. And it's only going to work if you have standardized each and every sort of step in your kitchen. So receiving of goods, your sourcing of ingredients, your then based on that, setting up a recipe which sort of combines all these different intricacies, and that's what gives you a good quality product, I suppose. Automation, yes, automation is again very important in the kitchen. Standardization is there, but then automation would help you in a way where humans make errors, right? But if you set up processes where you have automized it, right? If we talk about rotisserie ovens, right? You have a recipe management system, you set that up in, and all you need to do is feed your product in and then just press a button. The technology, the automation that you have put in, that helps you to take over the product and gives you standardized products day in, day out.
Amazing, thank you. Chef Francisco, what about the regulatory compliances? How does it help you?
Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody. I think it's smart kitchens are here to stay, right? And we need to adapt to it. And on compliance, it supports us very much. I think Russia was the first one to did it. That way you could, I remember there was the first equipment that I got with a USB port, right? Where you can just plug and download all your production, all the temperatures, and it will give you safety. Luckily, the rest of the industry has followed. So today, blast chillers have it, sous vides have it, and that allows you to be protected and to follow the procedures that the government sets for us. So it's here to stay. It gives us support. And for a chef who's in production, I'm not in production anymore. I produce talent, right? It really allows you to have a good sleep.
I love the part where you said you produce talents because of ICCA. Yeah. And by the way, it was his birthday a few days ago. We just want to say happy birthday to you again.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
Do you want to add anything to the point of regulatory compliances?
No, that's it.
Okay. What about Chef Jeet? We were talking about designated process automation when we had our call to discuss this panel earlier, and you had so much insights. Would you like to share some of them here?
So once again, thank you everyone for having me here. That's the first thing. When you talk about designated process, what I want to emphasize is basically you have a lot of different process going on, just revolving around a few equipments which Rational manufactures, but these are all integral part of the kitchen, and these are one of the most sophisticated. Now, to get the best benefit out of these, we can have designated recipes which are already standardized, as Chef Dilpreet has already mentioned, and these could be designated to larger conglomerates all over region or anywhere in the world in this modern world. The ovens are e-connected, they're connected to Wi-Fi, that means you're on the mainstream internet. You could designate a particular recipe you want in a particular shop, location, region, as per your requirement of your organization, sitting from one laptop, one system, from the server. That's it. It's that easy to upload. So you could have basically the same concept in multiple locations all around, but you have different menus and different applications. So it makes things much easier. This is not 20 years back when people had to travel and teach people from the ground up for each and every detail. All right. And apart from
So
these,
it makes the training process easier. even.
absolutely. It's right there. So before even the trainer comes in, your system is already uploaded. And there are two more things about processes. One is regarding your maintenance and one is regarding your cleaning. These are also process and designated processes. Now, what Rational does is that it has made things much simpler with apps. So you can be anywhere in the world and just check as an owner, as an entrepreneur, as a maintenance manager, or even a chef, anyone. You can just check what's the status of your equipment throughout, whether the cleaning cycles have been completed, any system errors, any issues, basically real-time diagnosis of your equipment. So that's one major advantage to have to what they're doing right now. So that's like 20,000 years of evolution to this point. Everything's on your phone right there. So that's one fact. And maintenance, of course, apart from that, cleaning, as I said, it's automated system. Everything can be done on itself. Just put it on and it's already applicable, and you can see the status of the entire machinery wherever and however you want, and whatever be the size of the branch that you have. So
Amazing.
Thank you.
It's so amazing how technology has changed our lives as restaurateurs, as chefs. So we're going to be talking about robotics with Chef Vivek. He was saying very insightful information as well about that.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to the panel. It's a very interesting panel which is being done now. So basically, robotics. Now, everyone is aware of what is robots. Robots are basically the appliances which has hands and they will do the work for you. The another part of the smart kitchen is IoT, which is Internet of Things. I will come back to Internet of Things later on. And then we have robotics, IoT, and then IoT, how does it work? Now, it has 4 components of that. Okay, what Chef Jeet was just now talking, that in the smart ovens, okay, they have, that's the appliance. Okay, so the devices are fitted with the sensors, okay, in terms of temperature, location, everything. The second part is it is connectivity. Connectivity with through Wi-Fi or through Bluetooth. Okay, then we have the interface. Now, interface is basically when you are linking those devices with the other components or a computer, or where they are controlling your ovens. Okay, so that is about the things. And so it's all, and then the last is AI, which is artificial intelligence, which everybody is now going through that. Okay, everybody is getting aware. For an example, I will tell you, to have the 100 million users for the telephone, okay, it took 17 years to reach that level per month. 100 million users per month, it took 17 years to reach that. Okay, whereas Chat GPT, okay, they have 100 million users in 2 months. Now you imagine what is the speed that we are going through. Okay, so basically robotics will do your things as it is told to you, repeated things, which is like cutting, frying, or even plating. Okay, IoT will control everything. And AI basically is into the softwares, more into the inventory processes, whereas it will tell you exactly that this is your inventory. It is the other way around now. This is your inventory in the store, okay, and this is the recipe that I recommend to you. Before, we used to make the recipes and look at the inventories and buy the things. But today it is the other way around. We have the inventory. The height will go on the next stage when I will speak on the next stage also. The height is already gone up. The other day, I wanted to make a beautiful menu and I went to Chat GPT and I said, give me a Michelin star, 5-course menu. Practically in 1 minute, I got the answer. Okay, I got the whole menu. Then I told them, okay, give me the ingredients. In 1 minute, I got the ingredients of that menu. The third minute, I told them, give me the presentation of this menu. So it gives me the visual presentation of that menu. Now, how fast and important it is becoming now. So
I agree with you.
This is about smart kitchens, adaptation.
Actually, I think the technology that's being done by tech people and our acceptance as human beings to technology, like 20 years ago, if you tell our grandparents we're using AI to create a recipe, they'll probably smack us on the face,
Exactly.
But yeah, this is why our next question is talking about how will AI or automation in kitchens replace talents? And this was a discussion we had in our call earlier. And Chef Francisco, you had comments about this part, especially when it comes to the education of the culinary industry. So what are your insights? Would AI or automation in kitchens be replacing talents or something else?
I don't think so. I think it will replace very simple operations, right? In the short term. I would like to go back to your comment. Yes, ChatGPT can give me a menu, it can give me ingredients, but it won't cook it for me, right? So smart kitchens is changing everything, right? And I would like to, the gentleman who made the question before, I wasn't part of the panel, but I wanted to answer him, is that, yes, education has to change. I can't continue teaching the same things that I was taught. That means that in the, I don't know, I'm not going to say my age, but in my 20-something years since I went to school, right?
Which is 2 years ago.
Yeah. There would be a big gap, if I continue teaching what I was taught. I always tell my students, I was taught a lot of lies at cooking school, right? Because there was no science involved. There was no technology involved. So I can't continue doing the same. I need to change. And the system has to change. And the population has changed, so you need to address that. If you don't address it and you don't use the tools that you have available, really you're not doing any impact, right? So there's a big change coming. Let's say at the CCA, we're a very, I would say, modern institution, right? We've created an app to connect with our students. Because they don't read emails anymore. They're not going to be receiving messages and so on. So you need to find a way of getting to them. And I think that's the way to go.
Especially if they're like Gen Z, TikTok kind of generation.
Yes.
They just need everything on the phone.
They need everything. And it also, puts a lot of pressure on the teacher. I always tell my teachers, being a teacher 30 years ago was very easy because you would say and you would just repeat or the Larousse or the Escoffier or whatever. Today, you have all their knowledge in their hands. So as a teacher, you need to be able to deal with it. So it's changing everything. Now, will talent go away? No. Simple procedures? Yes, they will go away. And they have to go away like in an industry. But I think the future looks brighter than darker, like a lot of people say.
Very nice. Thank you for those insights. During our conversation also, we were talking about, in Arabic, we have something in cooking, we call it nafas, like the breath of a person while cooking. And Chef Vivek, I want you to tell me, will that be changing if we're going towards robotics? Because you're the one who's you're a big fan of robotics, you're a big fan of technology, AI, IoT, all of this.
Well, definitely things are changing in a better way. Like I would say that it is progressing. Okay, when we adapt to the smart kitchens, there is a company, burger company, they are using Flippy for just to flip the burgers and frying them accurately. as accurately as you want. Domino's Pizza is using for AI to track the quality of their pizzas and also to estimate the delivery time of the pizzas. So smarter kitchen, how smart it can get? Okay, imagine a refrigerator which is tracking the expiration date of your products in the fridge. Okay, AI is telling you, okay, this is your inventory which is going to expire. Why don't you use it? This is the recipe. Use it. So we are adapting to the smart kitchen, but who is doing all the work? Human, definitely. It cannot take the talent of the human. Whatever is being done by the robots, it is helping to de-stress the employees who are working there. In the previous panel, they were talking about the stress level of the employees who are working. Why they are stressed? Because they have to do a repeated job every day. Whereas a robot can do that repeated job every day with such a precise manner to avoid wastage. And they're very efficient, and that is why it is adapted. But human talent, no. Even if there is a recipe being cooked by a robot, it is plating being done by the robot. Who is giving the recipe to the robot?
Like the mastermind.
The mastermind, the chef. It is still be a chef's signature that, okay, this chef has created this recipe. Whether it is they have taken out from Chat GPT or whatever, he is still putting his mind and his efforts into that so that the best outcome is possible. Yeah.
What about you, Chef Jeet? What do you think? Is it going to be replacing talents?
Absolutely not. I believe what we are going through as a notion right now is demonizing artificial intelligence. The first thing we must understand is technology. This is about improvement. Technology is there only to improve, to move forward. And that's the quintessential direction of life. We keep evolving, we keep moving forward. So, I mean, like probably 20,000 years ago, our ancestors were just trying to cook a piece of meat on fire, and today we are trying to automate that sitting at some other location. So like, yes, we should be tapping ourselves in the back and saying, yeah, we have come a lot of way. However, I think AI in the future, as I see, and not very far away, like it could be in a couple of years from now, we see driverless cars. So we might be seeing other things. Like, for example, if I can correlate right now with Rational, most probably as a company, they're already evolving and they're already working on AI application in the systems. Now it's already e-connected. So all it technically needs is existing systems and units for a software update. And if you have AI, as you have in your phones these days, it could streamline your process. So it can learn from your mistakes and eliminate the human error as much as possible. So it notices that throughout the day, how many logs of cooking are there, what kind of thing is being done and what temperature. So it's noticing everything and making it much simpler and giving you better solutions. So if you look at a typical portfolio of a interface on Rational right now, you will have a recipe to be set and created and fed in. It could be possible maybe in the next 9 months or maybe 2 years. If I won't be surprised to see that there's already a new recipe being created by the system and being offered to you. So this is your solution. This is what you have been doing. And this is how you can do better. So what's the harm in that? The point is that survival of the smartest these days. It applies to all industries.
I like the survival of the smartest. I always say survival of the most adaptive, not the fittest.
It's all about the smart
Someone who
people
can adapt. Yes. What about you, Chef Dipraj? I have a comment. Usually when we are talking about recipes, I always remember how my mom would give me recipes over the phone when I call her. And she'd be like, put a little bit of salt. And then how much salt do I need to put? So maybe this could be part of the automation, or it could be part of where we can have standardized recipes and stuff. How do you think this will affect talents as well with using all the technology and robotics in a smart kitchen?
I think one more point we need to look at is the availability of good quality people. Right.
That's very nice. That's very nice. That's ICCA.
Yeah. I think most of the chefs present here will agree with me that getting good quality people in to do the job.
Quality talent, so that they're not replaced in the first place.
Exactly, right? So instead of, as Chef Jeet was saying, demonizing AI, we need to look at optimizing AI for our advantage, right? AI would give you processes. AI would give you the opportunity to do things in a more streamlined manner, to avoid mistakes. And wherever these gaps are created by having individuals or newcomers who are not as talented as you want them to be, they can assist them in doing the job better, right? Now, as you said, adding salt, right? You set in a recipe into, again, coming back to rational, you set in a recipe and it gives you step by step process of, how it's to be done. You want to bake your chicken, you want to grill chicken, it will give you, how much time the oven has to be preheated for, what's the pre-cooking. So AI is going to be a part and parcel of our life long term. We cannot run away from it. In fact, we need to use it to our advantage, get the most out of it, and it it's going to help us improve our operational efficiencies as well.
Amazing.
Right. So I think we need to look at it in a positive mindset and use it to our advantage.
Amazing. And by the way, we started talking about Rational over the call without even discussing that Rational is the sponsor of this specific panel. So the chefs are authentically fans of Rational here.
Can I add something to
Yes,
what Chef
please. Go ahead.
Deepak said? Now, well, adding salt. I'm only going to add salt in our dishes, So now when we are taking help of the robot to cook something, to cook a recipe, is it possible for a robot, when a guest is saying, I want less salt or more salt, is it possible for the robot to adapt to that? I don't know yet. It is still a question mark. So human
that's where we need
talent,
the human talent, for sure.
is still required there. So, and also when the robots are working, they don't know. And by the way, I am mentioning these points because I have written this in my book. Okay.
Which you promised to get us copies of.
Okay, so there's a surprise later on. Okay, so yes, so robots are working on the ground. Okay, they are not yet aware whether the ground or this floor is dirty or not. So the hygienic point of view also has to be brought into the picture. Okay, the robots doesn't know whether this chicken was taken out 4 hours before cooking. So where the human talent is still required in the kitchen to do these jobs or to tell the robots to do this job. By the way, if you're maintaining a robot, you also need 3 people behind the robot.
The maintenance team,
crew,
yeah.
the IT team, and someone else maybe
to run it for the recipes.
To run it. So to have running one robot, you require 3 manpower skill, which is again a human talent.
So this follows up to the third question that we have for today, which is the cost efficiency. So how cost efficient is it be? You're going to invest into the robotic system, AI, technology, connectivity, and 3 people per robot. So how cost efficient is this process transforming into a smart kitchen? You can start first because you're the one who mentioned this part. I'm putting you in the spotlight.
Now basically you don't have to adapt and change the entire operation of your system, because there will be a lot of apprehensions regarding the workflow of the system that is already being there. So you cannot abrupt the workflow of the whole system, but slowly and slowly, step by step, you can adapt. Also, AI is doing a lot of things like the sales or the consistency in the inventory system. Now, there is, for the smaller organization, there is definitely a solution for that where you can take the help of the cloud work, and you can adapt to that by pay as you go or a small subscription which you have to pay monthly or a yearly. So you can still make your kitchen step by step a smarter one.
For the inventory management, for all of this. So it helps with the cost efficiency by the end.
Yes.
Okay. How about you, Chef Jeet? How do you think you can be more cost efficient while using technology in your kitchen?
I strongly believe that all these points that we all have been discussing, all of them contribute to cost efficiency in one way. Efficiency is basically the definition when you say you use adequate quantity of anything in whatever you're doing.
Not just random amount of salt. Precisely. Like my mom.
It's not about emotions. It's not about carelessness and ignorance. It's about being precise to the point. So the first thing that comes out when you talk about cost, apart from the food wastages, which is a natural part of F&B, you have got power resources, the amount of power you're using.
The utility bills.
Utility bills, these are massive. They're direct costs like chemicals you're using for cleaning. When you have got smarter cleaning system which are integrated, so you are not awaiting a human being to do an error or feed in extra chemicals to damage that equipment, which will lead to even furthermore massive bills on maintenance. So these things over and above, these are like overhead costs which add up to the P&L of a small business to a medium to a large scale business. Eventually they creep up and they become a substantial percentage. So these things only add into the benefit of the organization and the business.
Okay.
And yeah, that about it.
Amazing. Chef Depraj, what are your thoughts on cost efficiency?
See, I'll go back to the point of rationals and the rotisserie ovens from Frigidaire and other companies. Normally what happens is in the kitchen, when you want to have your efficiencies up, your cost savings higher, you have these smart equipments running for you where you feed in your product, right? And you let the oven do the cooking. And instead of standing there and waiting for an hour and a half for the chicken or the beef to be cooked, the chef can go and do something else productive. So you are
Like
saving,
create a new menu on AI.
like creating a new menu on AI, correct. So, you are multitasking your people at hand. To add on to that, we have blast chillers, we have regular chillers and freezers in the kitchens. The AI has come to a point where, as a chef, you are sitting in your office, and the moment the chiller door is left for a longer time or a freezer door is left for a longer time, the system is automatically going to give you an alarm on your phone or on your system saying that the door has been opened or has been forgotten to be closed.
It helps on utility bills
It
and
helps
food
on utility
wastage.
bills. It helps on your overall costs, obviously, and then it helps in training as well.
Yeah.
So I think.
So he mentioned a very important point that will tap directly into your side, which is for talents. Like if you have a good chef who can use the multitasking experience of doing this with AI and stuff. So how are you tackling this to be more cost efficient for these gentlemen? Because you're the one who's getting talents for them.
The thing is technology will allow you to be cost efficient. You're going to have a higher investment at the beginning, but that will really impact your operation in the future. And it will also impact in the amount of work that your talent will have, right? Because it makes everything simpler. So it's a safe situation for me. The more you invest in your kitchen and equipment and in technology, the better the better results you're going to have, the better efficiency you're going to have, less wastage, and your staff will have a better life because they're very well supported.
Is this how you promote your futuristic plans for education in culinary arts?
It's just the way it is.
Amazing.
I also work as a consultant. I help people open restaurants and so on. And the first conversation is, first get trained. That's my first advice. First, get trained. Understand what happens in your kitchen. Second, buy the best equipment you can afford, because it will make your operation simple. It will make you consistent. You will have food safety, and you'll be successful. Plain and simple.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your insights, gentlemen. We still have 4 minutes and 20 seconds for questions and answers. If anyone has questions for the gentlemen, please. Yes. Can we get a mic?
Sorry, since chefs were talking about AI or technologies advancedly help us in the kitchen, how am I gonna understand as a chef that the AI or the thing that I'm using as a fresh produce will adjust it to the final result of the dish that I have expected? How the AI understand that the mango is not sour, pineapple, or the chili? If I'm making a chili con carne, how will the AI adjusted it? The spice level or the saltiness?
I think you will answer this.
Well, in future, yes, it might be possible with the sensors, but at present, we still talk that we have to retain the talent in the kitchen.
And can I add something?
Yes, please.
What we see is we're 10, 15 years behind where the frontier is today. Nothing to do with this, but I met some entrepreneurs some weeks ago, and they've created a wheelchair, that it's able to connect to the brain and takes instructions from somebody who's quadriplegic.
Wow.
So imagine how far we are. So I'm sure that
Yeah, and the F&B, we still have a long way to go with technology.
I'm sure that if we visit the R&D departments of Rational, of Irinox, all the big players, we would be, amazed and surprised of what we find there.
Amazing. Any other question? In the crowd? Nope. All right, I think we're good.
Can I add one more point to what he has asked? Now, when you are serving a fresh mango, does your guest complain that this fresh mango is sour? That's what I'm saying. Fresh mango will always remain a fresh mango, whether it is a little sour or a little sweet, because it is natural. Whereas if you're buying a juice from somewhere, the company who is sending you the juice, who is selling you the juice, will ensure that it is of best quality.
That's also back to atomization and technology and recipes and making sure that they have the best products that are using in the process. Anyone wants to add anything to this question? I think Chef Jeet wanted to say something.
I'll just simplify this a bit to you. As you talked about chili con carne, right? Now, what is salinity? Example, you said adjustment of seasoning. Salinity is basically an algorithm of a lot of people's opinion on what should be salt and what should be the right level. So that's always in numbers. A system, AI or whatever be the connect with any kind of equipment, will only understand numbers. That's it. For them, what is the average for a certain group of people as the acceptable level is measured in numbers. So what a person, operator does is that they follow the system. The easiest example is a Thermomix. Give you a recipe, will tell you do this. All you need to do, take the measurement, and it does measurement for you. And you're just adding it. Now, if you change that, you'll have a different result, for sure.
So it's all about the input.
Yes, but they came to that conclusion after a lot of testing. Now, what AI is doing is helping us doing that faster.
Amazing.
And integrate.
I agree with that because, collectively as Lebanese, we like sour food. We don't have a problem with the mango being sour.
Now, you could be cooking a chili con carne on a rational brat pan, a braising unit, basically. So the salinity depends on the moisture content. And maybe in the future, they're going to have some sensors to, control the moisture content of the entire product. So that's called being consistent and being efficient and reaching that equilibrium.
So it's again back to the input and the talent. So I think we're good. We still have 20 more seconds. If anyone has more questions or more input, if Chef Dipraj wants to add anything to this point.
Sure, I think Chef Vivek has already spoken about it. It's going to take another 10-15 years for AI in F&B to come to a point where you will be able to sort of adjust your salt levels, or the AI would be able to tell you that it's become too sour or too sweet or too spicy. But end of the day, who's going to give that input? Who's going to feed it to the system, to AI, right? It's humans. You can't take away the feel of senses from a human and incorporate into an AI. That's not going to happen. So be it now, be it 15 years from now, I think AI is always going to be dependent on humans rather than the other way around.
Okay, thank you so much, gentlemen. Our time is up, although this conversation could have gone for another day. Thank you so much for the audience.
Present the books to everyone.
We have a surprise for real.
Yeah, I do.
Thank you.
So this is my book that I have written and published only 2 months before. It's available with me, whoever wants to buy.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. This was a very interesting panel. Chef Vivek, Chef Jeet Ghosh, Chef Francisco, Chef Deepraj, and thank you, Taraya, to heading the panel.